Tell me how you analyze a Brady motion.
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
Judge Cruz, you handled a case called ViaNet Operating Group v. Maurice. Is that right?
That's correct, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
You handled a case called Moodin v. University of Colorado. Is that right?
I believe so, Senator, yes.
And you were reversed in that case, right?
I believe a portion of my recommendation was reversed, yes.
Okay. Did you handle a case called Vreeland v. Vigil?
Yes, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well, yes.
Okay. Did you handle a case called Vreeland v. Olson?
Yes, Senator.
And were you reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well, yes.
Okay. You handled a case called Key Bank National Association v. Williams. Is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
Senator, I've issued over 1,500 recommendations and orders over the course of my 4 years on the bench, and that is one that was partially reversed, yes.
Okay. You handled a case called Renault v. Cardenas. Do you remember that case?
Yes, Senator.
And you were reversed in that case too?
A portion of that was reversed as well.
Do you remember a case called Janney v. Gomez?
Yes, Senator.
And were you reversed in that case?
A portion of that was reversed as well, Senator.
Okay. How about a case, do you remember this case, Judge Schwartz v. City of Denver?
The name is familiar, Senator. For all the cases I've handled, I'm not recalling particulars about that case.
Okay. Do you remember being reversed in that case?
Senator, I'm not specifically recalling that case.
Okay. Do you remember a case called Lucas v. Board of Commissioners of Larimer County?
The name is familiar, Senator. The details of the case are not coming to hand at the moment.
Do you remember being reversed in that case?
Senator, I don't recall offhand at the moment with that case.
Do you remember a case called Brooks v. Colorado Department of Corrections?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
I'm not recalling offhand if that was one where I had a partial reversal.
Okay. Do you remember a case called ACV Jefferson County School District?
Yes, Senator.
Were you reversed in that case?
I was partially reversed in that case as well.
Okay. You remember a case called Blake v. United States?
The name sounds familiar, Senator.
Okay. Do you remember being reversed in that case?
I don't specifically recall that particular case.
Okay. Well, I've got others here, cases that you handled in which you were reversed. Tell me why you've been reversed so often, Judge.
Well, Senator, as I indicated, I've issued over 1,500 recommendations and orders over the course of my career. When I approach any of these cases, I approach them all in the same fashion, which is to analyze the law, analyze the Supreme Court and 10th Circuit precedent that bears on those cases, and I apply those cases to the law to the facts of that case. As a magistrate judge, many of those are recommendations that are made which are reviewed de novo. I respect the decisions of those district judges who viewed those circumstances differently.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Tell me how you analyze a Brady motion.
How I analyze a Brady motion?
Yes.
Senator, in my 4.5 years on the bench, don't believe I've had the occasion to address a Brady motion in my career.
Do you know what a Brady motion is?
Senator, in my time on the bench, I've not had occasion to address that, and so it's not coming to mind at the moment what a Brady motion is.
Do you recall the U.S. Supreme Court case Brady v. Maryland?
I do recall the name of the case, Senator, yes.
And what did it hold?
I believe that the Brady case, Senator, I believe the Brady case involves something regarding the Second Amendment. It is not, I've not had occasion to address that. If that issue were to come before me, I would certainly analyze that Supreme Court precedent and apply it as I would need to the facts in front of me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My aunt's Facebook page has more credibility than you do. I could spend the rest of the day reading your quotes where you make allegations against people and you can't defend them. Professor Painter, on May 5th of this year, you put out a tweet. You said, I'm going to quote, "There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's the Supreme Court." Would you tell me which members of the Supreme Court you believe are bought?
I was particularly concerned at that point when I posted that tweet.
I understand, but if you could, I've got really limited time, and I apologize for interrupting. Just tell me which members of the court you are bought.
I did not think that Justice Clarence Thomas should be failing to disclose his trips on a billionaire's
Do you think
yacht
he's
and
bought?
airplane.
Do you think he's
I
bought?
believe that there is grave risk.
Do you think he's bought?
I said there is grave risk
Do you think he's bought?
to the confidence of the American people in our Supreme
Well, if you
Court.
don't think he's bought, why did you say it?
I said
Yes,
that there is.
you said members of the Supreme Court are bought. You're here testifying as an expert for my Democratic friends, and you're saying the members of the Supreme Court are bought?
I said when the American people feel that way, when we have Supreme Court justices
feel that way?
on yachts and in planes of billionaires and not being disclosed.
Anybody
financial
besides Justice Thomas you think is bought on the Supreme Court?
I believe that the court needs to clean
Anybody
up
besides
its act.
Justice Thomas?
I'm not going to go through each
I mean,
justice.
you tweeted it.
I tweeted the way the American people
Did
feel.
you mean
the
it
way
when
I
you
feel.
tweeted it?
And I stand by that tweet. This Supreme Court of the United States
right.
needs to clean up its
Let me
act.
ask you a couple others here, because you've on September 17, 2020, you tweeted, "It looks like Putin's favorite senator could lose," referring to Senator Lindsey Graham. Could you tell me your evidence for saying that Senator Graham is President Putin's favorite senator?
I don't recall that tweet and the story.
Well, I've got it.
that
It's
tweeted
right
out.
here. It's right here.
I'm happy to look at the tweet, and I'm happy to write you, explain that. I don't know what that has to do with climate change.
Well,
Subject of
it
this
has to
hearing.
do with your credibility. Did
As
you
a-
say, what is your basis for saying that Senator Graham is President Putin's? I mean, have you ever talked to President Putin?
I have not talked to President Putin, and I would be happy to go look at the tweet and look at the story that I tweeted out and what Senator Graham had said in that context. You know, this is something
you say all this stuff. For example, you're here as an expert for my Democratic friends, and you say all this stuff. You called on September 16, 2023, a professor at the University of Chicago, very distinguished professor, Brian Leiter. You called him a racist. Can you explain to me why you think he's a racist?
I remember a series of tweets with him. He's a Marxist who put out a number of statements attacking African Americans and women. And he also was raising money for someone who had called the police on a black student for sleeping in the common room, and now has a wokekkk.com website attacking
That's
me.
fair enough.
So
Fair
I
enough.
will just say one thing that I learned in high school debate, that when you have no argument, you simply change the subject.
All right. On October 15th of 2020, you said Lindsey Graham is soliciting cash payments in return for voting on a Supreme Court nomination. What evidence, that's a pretty bold statement, Professor. What evidence do you have for alleging that Senator Graham was taking cash in return for one of his votes?
I don't recall that specific tweet,
Here it
but
is,
I
right here.
do.
Here it
I
is.
do recall, and I
Do you think he was taking cash
I-
for one of his votes?
I have received campaign.
Do you think he was taking cash for one of his votes?
I'm answering your question, Senator. I have received solicitations from both political parties.
Do you think Lindsey Graham was taking cash for
for
one of his votes? It's a simple question,
I have
Professor.
received cash, solicitations for cash on my email. And yes, from both political parties in connection with Supreme Court confirmation votes.
Well, I'm out of
It's
time,
wrong.
but let me just say for the
It's
record,
wrong.
my aunt's Facebook page has more credibility than you do. I could spend the rest of the day reading your quotes where you make allegations against people and you can't defend them.
You've said nothing about climate change. You quoted everybody from a Marxist
Senator
to
Kaine.
all sorts of other people. This has absolutely nothing to do with the topic of the hearing, Senator.